it looks massive, but I'm actually so tiny. So little.
Okay.
Like when I hold my cat, they think it's a huge cat, and I'm just the tiny one. The cat is a normal size.
Okay.
I'm like this with a cat. No.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for doing this, Shea. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited. It's the first time I get something like recorded on Zoom.
Oh,
So
it looks good. You look good. It sounds good.
thanks.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay, cool. So this podcast is about you and your journey in music, and we'll talk about the new EP, which I was just
Yeah,
listening to.
that's fun.
It's awesome. And how you got to where you are now.
Exciting. Why do you
Cool.
look so blurred? I want that. Is that a
I'm
glam?
blurred.
You have like this filter glamour, or is that your perfect skin?
Oh, well, it's a little bit of both.
Oh,
And
wow.
no, just kidding. I have good lighting, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, you have this perfect skin.
Oh, well, thanks. Yeah, so I don't know, maybe it's the lighting or your computer. I don't know.
Mm.
Either way. Well, I appreciate the compliment and your time. So, where were you born and raised? Tell me about that.
I was born in Guadalajara, Mexico.
Oh, awesome. And how long were you there for?
I was born and raised my whole life, actually. I moved later to Montreal, Canada. I think I was 21 or 22.
Oh, wow.
But like
So
my whole upbringing is full Mexican.
wow. I
Yeah.
used to I'm from San Diego, so we'd go down to Mexico all the
Oh, yeah.
time. TJ and Rosarito and all of that, like growing up as a kid.
Yes, yes, it's super close. I haven't been in the US as much. Like, I think just Disneyland, which is like the Cancun for everyone. It's like when I say I've been in Disneyland, it's like, oh, okay, that's not. I'm like,
Oh,
oh,
that's just the like vacation destination for people
exactly.
where we
Yes,
go to Cancun, you guys come up to go to Disneyland.
exactly. Yeah.
Wow. Well, what was it like growing up in Guadalajara? I would love to hear about that.
I mean, it was great. It was fantastic. I miss it so much. It's just, the perfect weather, the perfect food, the perfect. It's just so nice. I mean, once you travel and you go many other, like in other places, you can really appreciate your weather, which is something just normal for me growing up. It was, oh, yeah, it's sunny. It's just, that's life.
Right. It's sunny and 70 degrees, like
Yeah.
whatever.
But
When you
now I'm
moving
like,
to
yeah,
Canada, that must have been quite a
exactly. Yeah.
significant change.
No, it's very cold. Like right now, it's okay because it's summer, but winter here, it's brutal. It's minus 40 sometimes. And I mean, I don't go out. It's not like I'm outside like this, like being a warrior. I'm
But
just
still, you have
inside.
to just stay inside always.
Okay. I mean, lucky for me, I like work inside, I enjoy it, but
Mhm.
I don't imagine people who actually have to like go outside every day and like that's brutal. I mean, yeah. And it's so long. It's 6 months of winter here. So not
Which is
like
half the
40,
year.
minus 40 every day, but
But still, there's snow on the
no,
ground for 6 months out
exactly.
of the year.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh, that must have been quite the change. And it probably you never got any weather like that where you grew up.
No, actually, no. It snowed once in Guadalajara, and
Mhm.
it was in the news.
Oh,
And it
did
was
it
like
really?
very bad, ugly, like stiff snow, but we were thrilled. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
it was very different.
I remember in San Diego it snowed one time. It was on I just remember it was like Valentine's Day when I was really young. And it was like to the point where it wasn't even sticking on the ground. Like it was just like snowflakes and it would just melt as it was kind of coming down. But it was like this huge deal on the news. And like I remember going outside and looking and being like, this is snow. I was so
Yeah.
unimpressed. But because I was expecting to see, mounds on the ground and everything. But yeah, it's quite a change. I moved to Nashville, Tennessee, where it snows here, and it was a wild seeing that, waking up in the morning to like snow for a handful of weeks,
Uh-huh.
but you get it for months. Anyway, so how did you get into music? Do you come from a musical household?
No, I actually always been obsessed since very young age. Music is just my life. I've always loved singing, and I feel
Hmm.
like it has like been different from me through my life and like evolved in different stages. But since I can remember, it was singing for me. I just loved singing since I was very young. But in my family, there's no musicians at all, and Well, actually, my mom is a painter, so that's the closest
Oh,
I have.
it's a art within the
Art,
household.
yes. So
Oh,
my mom was
wow.
always painting in the house, and I was exposed to music since a very young age because she would, listen to a lot of Enya, Era, like all of these ambiental
Hmm.
sound artists, and I will always love that. So I always love like instrumentals and classical music. And then my dad, he was not a musician, but he would listen to a lot of rock. So he had like Led Zeppelin, Queen, and
Hmm.
like all of these great bands. So I kind of had like a mix.
Best of both worlds. That's awesome. And you
Yeah.
said you're always singing. Do you play an instrument or did you take piano lessons or anything like that growing up?
I started learning guitar at 11. Yeah, that was my first instrument.
Okay.
And
And was that something that you were interested in, or your
super.
parents are like, hey, you should?
No, never. No, my
Oh,
family just was like, no, like always.
oh, they didn't want you to.
No,
Okay.
it's not. I don't think it's even me that I'm a musician. I would like prefer if my kid just would want to do something else, just because it's just so hard. It takes a lot of courage and a lot of energy, and like I feel like I have a huge joroba here already, and like spinal dorsal scoliosis, like kidney stones. I was just choose something else. If I would have children, I'd be like, please, no, just something else.
It's interesting how that is. There's a lot of parents that are in, whether it's movies, TV, music, they don't want their kids to take that route just because
Yeah,
it's so unpredictable.
yeah, yes. So my family was like that, and but to me it was just also my course was like I was not just a kid who yeah, I loved singing. No, I would just tell people, no, I'm gonna be a star. I was annoying like that at 8.
Oh,
you know
wow.
at school, teachers, like people hated me. I didn't have a lot of friends because that's all I could talk about, and I had this huge um heroes that were like a lot of rock bands, and at the time which where I was growing up, it was the MTV world. So I would
Hmm.
watch Avril Lavigne, Blink-182, like
Hmm.
this punk rock pop era was what I was listening to growing up. And so I wanted a band, and I was taking it so seriously, and I was like telling people in my class, please, like just stand there and say, like I would print lyrics and make them in plastic after, and like tell people in my classroom like, this is your part, like this, and then this is my part, and then again I was like taking it so seriously, like a business, since I was very little. So
Wow. Were you writing those songs or you're just bringing
yes,
covers?
they were
Oh,
terrible, of
wow.
course,
But
but
still, that's some courage, not only to write the song, but to present it to people in your class and then be like, here's your part. You're going to
yeah,
sing these lyrics that I wrote.
yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, and
Wow.
then I mean, I did go to school, like, of course, guitar, but I suddenly realized I was the worst student. Despite like loving music so much, I was like, wow, this is terrible. I hate it. Because also another thing for me was like I've always loved being a showgirl. So for
Hmm.
me, like to be there, like, no, I just like feel me. Like I want to do something. I was always like a mix of like doing a show and like making people laugh and like doing impressions and all of these. And so learning theory and harmony in a classroom was just like waste of time for me, where I could be like doing a video clip in my house like for
Hmm.
fun and all of these things. Yeah,
Right. Right. So instead of the technical aspect of it,
yeah,
you
yeah.
were more in, like the creative hours. But that's kind of, that really worked out for you, right? With the impressions, were you always funny and just kind of witty like that? I did see the video that went really massive with the guacamole where you're kind of playing two parts and
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like, is that
yeah.
something that you always kind of had?
Oh, yes, yes. I've always loved like making people laugh. I enjoy that feeling a lot, like just making someone's day better, since I was like getting visits in my house with like a family of my parents, that they would come over and, oh, we want Shia, can she, like, and I was a kid. So they wanted me in the table, and I enjoyed it. I was like, oh yes, this is great.
Mhm.
So I always enjoyed that part, but for me it's always been, yeah, I feel like I love doing a lot of different things. I feel like that's been my course. It's like I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do that, and I enjoy so many different things, and I love learning a lot. I'm so curious since I was a kid, so it's like my brain never stops. I need a vacation.
Well, that's just a
I'm
lot of
tired.
creative people are like that. It's just like their mind is
Hmm.
constantly doing, running with these ideas or needing like a release. So you said 11 you started learning guitar, but you just didn't really stick with it, or
Of course, no, I loved guitar, but everything I learned, I taught myself. I figured it was better for me, at least.
oh, that's
Yeah,
yeah. So you just used it as it was like an instrument to write or a vehicle to write your own songs, or
yes, yes. For me, it
okay.
helped me, and this is what I tell every time. Like, I talk to people, and they're like, what do you recommend if you're like if you're starting, if you want to be a musician, like make songs.
Yeah.
I'm like,
That's my
you have my
last question
sister.
for you, but we can answer it now and then we'll revisit it. So go ahead.
You have my sister who's like 21, I think. Yeah, she said, "Oh, I don't want to study medicine anymore. I want to be an artist. I suddenly want to be." I'm like, yes, of course, I'll support you. She's like, but how can I start? Because she struggles a lot with it, like songwriting. I'm like, choose an instrument, always. I know, like, probably in today's world, nobody cares, and it's easy to make music and produce songs. Like, I produced my record myself, and I agree, like, you totally don't need to learn strings to play strings.
Oh
But
wow, you produced the Facing the Mirror album or the
yeah,
EP? Oh wow, okay, we'll get into that. That's incredible.
thank you so much. I love that album so much. But yeah, I told Nicole, learn an instrument because it really hugs what you want to say all the time. It helps you so much. It gives you so much confidence, and I feel, yeah, it's the only way you can start to learn your language, your own language. In music, I
Mhm.
feel. Hmm.
So yeah, I completely agree. So you're writing songs, you learn guitar around 11, and then what's like the next phase? You were talking about presenting your classmates with your songs and saying, okay,
No, forget about
did you?
that.
No, but like,
That was not a
but
phase.
but did you start a band? Did you end up starting a band,
I
or were you
had a
doing singer
band. That's so
songwriter
funny.
stuff?
Oh my goodness. I never talked about this. This is the first time I talked about it, but I did have bands. But they were, not professional bands, but I did have bands with friends who were forced to be in these bands. It's not like yeah. Rock bands mainly, I think, like two or three, and we would play in cafes and people were just like hanging out. But I was like, this is my moment. This is the night I'll get discovered in this bar in Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico. Someone from the US is here. In my mind, I always wanted to just be everywhere because I was used to like grow up. Sorry, I was used to seeing all these artists that I love. So of course I was like, I want to do the same. I want to be
Mhm.
there as well. So I always felt like my city, it was just not the place for me as well. I always felt like that, even despite like loving my country and my city. I feel like, no, I need to be everywhere. I need to do everything. I need to get out. The dream of every kid. It was for
Mhm.
me like this. And I started with guitar, and then I also always wanted to write in English. But for some reason, producers, when I used to meet with producers in Mexico, they were telling me, stop, they were like, what are you doing? Stop writing in English. And it was my dream to write in English, but they were telling me to stop, and I was 13. So I said, okay.
Oh wow. Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that. The first few songs that I saw on your Spotify were all in Spanish, and then it
Yeah.
changes, obviously.
Mhm.
So you were trying to write in English from that early on, or
For
you
a
were
long
writing
time.
English, but they weren't. Their
Yes, I
producers were telling
have.
you not to.
Yes, I have a lot of playlists, private playlists that I don't know if I'll ever release all of these songs, but they're just acoustic demos, all in English when I was a teenager. And nobody heard these songs because nobody gave me the confidence or the support to tell me nobody cares if you're in Mexico, just post the songs. I
Yeah.
was too afraid because of course, I was always alone and I had the responsibility of, it's all on me and I don't know anything. I'm 13. So I
Mhm.
never released anything, all of these English songs. And I was just following what adults were telling me and these producers that I were telling me, no, you need to write in Spanish, you're in Mexico. So that's what I did. And I made a record, a Spanish record that had like 12 Spanish songs. It was like rock pop. And some singles are the ones, that they're on
Mhm.
YouTube where, yeah. I
Yeah. Okay.
did.
And so how did you meet the producers and everything? Like that sounds like being that young and already
Mexico?
going
Yeah,
to the studio to record songs.
like a crazy person. I mean, trying to fight for my dream. I was going to Mexico City and and trying to meet people. And my dad was supporting me at the time. He was my manager at the time.
Oh,
So
that's cool. So they're very supportive parents and to really
yeah,
embrace that. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
in a way, yes. He was always, we're gonna do it, okay, because he realized that I was sick. So he was okay. She's not gonna do anything else. So we tried to do it in Mexico for a while, yes, and we met with people. I recorded this album in a studio in Mexico City, and it was fun. But at the same time, I was loving the music, of course, but at the same time, it was not my dream music that I wanted to do. I was just
Mhm.
trying to.
But you were doing music, so that's all you were like, okay, I'll settle with this because I'm actually
Exactly.
doing music. No, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And so how long does that last? Like you said you moved to Canada at 21. Prior to that, like what was kind of the next step there that kept you going, or like a validating moment that, kept kind of keeping you moving forward?
Yes, for a while I was going back and forth Mexico City and Guadalajara because of this, because of work. I was going a lot to record Mexico City. And then it was just a long time there trying to figure out when to release. It was also this time was kind of in the switch into music going into just um the streaming world. I think
Okay.
I remember we promoted some songs still on the radio in Mexico. We were still in that world, which
Hmm.
by the way, Mexico probably is still doing a lot of this still. So if I would go promote this album, there would be probably totally different system or, plan or strategy. I don't know.
Right.
But at the time, it was like this. I was going to newspapers, different buildings, interviews in person, and TV programs, playing with the guitar. It was totally different.
Yeah.
And it
Wow.
took, like, I think 8 years doing this, like promoting this record there, because maybe the actual record never came out. Like, I never, the whole thing. I was trying to promote two singles, then one single, then one, something like that. Mhm.
Hmm. And then the full album never came out.
It
Oh,
never came out
wow.
because I was also in the process of changing teams, meeting another producer, changing team again, meeting bad people, another bad people. You go through so many
Yeah,
people.
just trying to find your sound and your team.
Exactly. So at the end, I was like, okay, this is not. And also, it was sucking my spirit, my life away. Imagine like just trying to make it, and then you just meet with obstacle, 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 obstacle. You're doing it. You're promoting your songs, but it's not progressing as you, especially not the way you wanna go, the direction you wanna
Hmm.
go. So there was a moment where I said, okay, stop it, stop it. I cannot continue like this. I'm gonna have a heart attack. And I just spoke with my family. I said, I'm leaving. I had a drama moment and I don't even want to do music anymore. I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy it anymore. I don't want to write a song. I stopped loving music for a while when I was in my early 20s. So I said, I just want to leave and just have a break. I need a break and I need a change of environment, I think. Very important.
Hmm.
And that's what I did. That's how I ended up in Canada, and I stayed.
Why did you choose Canada? Like, why did you choose where you did?
So the thing is, I was lucky that my family thought about a second choice for us. I was very fortunate that way. So they started the process for the residents a long time ago for us in case if there was an apocalypse, in case of whatever we needed.
Oh, wow. Just
Yeah.
so you had almost a dual citizenship with Canada at that point, or you were able to go there with no problems?
Permanent residence. It was
Yeah.
in the process at the same time. I couldn't go yet, but the moment in my mental breakdown, I could. So I think it was destiny.
Well,
I
yeah,
think,
it sounds like it.
yeah, I ended up here, and for a year, I didn't write a song. I was not like, yay, here. For a year, I was completely in a very dark place, trying to reconnect with myself, with art, with everything.
Hmm.
And after that, it just actually that year, no, I didn't make a song that year. But shortly after, I was like, okay, I'll grab the guitar again, and I did like the most emo, depressing, most amazing songs that I don't know if I'll ever release them. I would
Well, that's
love
right.
to.
It sounds right up my alley. I love the emo depressing
Do you?
songs.
Me too. Me
Yeah.
too. I love these songs. And I made an album that it's kind of like that. everything's in acoustic guitar and they have strings as well, very orchestral, super beautiful. I love it, but it's so dark.
Wow, you should just release it under a different name or something. Just
I
like
would
put
love
it
to.
out.
I don't know what
That's
I'm
so
gonna do
cool.
with it, but I wanna do something, yeah. But it's totally
So,
different than facing the mirror, but
right, but this is something that just kind of did you record it all yourself? I mean, you said you
yeah.
produced Facing the Mirror, so you must have produced that all by
Yeah.
yourself. Like, how did that work? Did you just
Mhm.
did it on your computer or something, or?
Yeah, yeah, right here. I mean, I had the basics. I always had Logic, but I always
Hmm.
used it for demos and just basic stuff for the guitar. I always focused on the guitar, so I would just do demos. But then I think it was that album. I think it was when I started to use more orchestral sounds and add a little more things and add a little more things. I was like, oh, this is
Yeah.
not that hard. And a little bit, and I started getting a little bit more confidence, I guess, until the point where I did Facing the Mirror, which is last year.
Wow. Okay. So this like you don't know the moment that you're like, okay, I'm going to just pick this up and start writing this emo record. It was just it just happened to happen when it did.
No, I didn't plan it. I was just,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, like terribly, 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 terribly lost. And
Hmm.
all I did was record these songs. Yeah, and I was not expecting to make a lot of songs that when I made them, and I looked at them and I listened to them. I was like, wow, this sounds like a movie. This could be a movie. And I started to plan a movie for it. I wanted to be, I don't, if I ever do this, then it's better to not talk about it right now. But I want, like, had the whole thing figured out for this project.
Sure.
And then it took so long also meeting people because again, like I was alone at the time. Also, I didn't have management, I didn't have anything. So everything that I did so far in my life, I had to figure out myself. Like this video, I need these people, I need to call this, I need to figure out this, when is this coming
Hmm.
out? So yes, but that these songs definitely gave me the confidence to, oh, I want to keep, I need to make more music for sure.
Sure. Were you writing those songs were those songs in English or in
Yes, yes.
Spanish?
In English.
Okay. So
English.
then when do you start? Because Facing the Mirror doesn't sound anything like an emo depressed record, right? I mean, so tell me when do you start writing those songs and how does this album, get put together? And obviously it's out now.
Yeah, Facing the Mirror was also, time is a blur. I have blackouts, but I think it was the lockdown for sure.
Okay.
The lockdown for me was a fantastic time to just be in the stinky room and figure out production. I was just flying. I was loving the whole process of producing now with more elements and more layers and more instruments. And yes, and I think it was the first time that Hmm. There's no acoustic guitar anymore here. I think it's the first time that the process for me was music first, pads, instrumental, strings,
Hmm.
voices. And yeah, for me, I think I don't think I'll ever, well, I won't say never, but like to go
Yeah.
back to guitar for me, like it's now a crime. I
Okay. Yeah. It has
don't,
that orchestral sound, especially in the first song, how it comes in. It's just like almost like this. Like I could
oh,
see it at
yes,
like a big theater and like a huge orchestra playing as you sing.
yes, I love that feeling. And also, I think I was thinking about it because someone asked me why you love voices so much, like choirs and these voices.
Hmm.
And you know what? I think it's because I was so alone. I've always been so alone. And for me, music was that companionship. And I feel like how I love putting voices in my record because it made me feel less alone. It's crazy, but
No, but it makes sense, right? I mean, to
yeah,
have that as kind of a partner, so to speak. I don't
yeah.
know.
Yeah, I was feeling watched. I was feeling like, oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
We're here. Yeah.
Wow. So this was all put together during when the COVID lockdown happened.
Yes. Oh,
Okay. Sorry.
hi, Marisa. Are you scared me? Yes, lockdown for sure. It was the
Okay.
the beginning of the songs. Also, I didn't plan to make a record as well. I just was making songs, making songs, making songs. And I have so many songs that I wish to release. Like this Facing the Mirror, they're so old, these songs, and I can't hear them anymore. Guilty, but I just can't. Like, I have a couple that I enjoy, but I
Mhm.
won't put this album in the car because it's just I have so many other songs that are new, and I wish I could just share like that. Actually, when I met my management, I told them I need to release an album, 20 songs. I need to do it. And they were like, "No, you're not Kanye." I was like, "How dare you? Like, who cares?" And it was a struggle because I've always been in conflict with, my heart as an artist and the business side of it, which is not realistic probably, if especially since I'm warming things up with this new type of music for me, to want to release an album of 20 songs, because yeah, they say no, nobody has the attention for it, like everyone's gonna skip it. I'm like, well, okay. I
Yeah, no, I
honestly
see what
wouldn't
you're
mind.
right, right. I see what they're saying in the sense that yeah, people's attention spans are so short, and it's like put out a single and get a bunch of plays on the single instead of because it's just like no one's digesting a full album anymore. It's more like playlists and singles and but I love the thought and the concept of writing a whole album, having it make sense and why the first song was chosen for where it is and and just the placement and the story that an album will tell I think is such a cool art in
Same.
itself.
Yes, always.
So with you said Facing the Mirror, you weren't even sure it was going to be an album, it was just songs, and then what they just started to kind of
Yes.
flow together and it
Yes.
became what it is now.
Yes, I think I started realizing they had a specific essence despite being different songs. And yeah, I think they're probably very different ones, like if you listen to them individually, but I think they have this same essence. And I was too excited because I think it was the first time I thought, oh, this is me. This
Mm.
is me. As opposed to, producing or releasing all of the previous songs where, I don't know, it was still me. It's my songwriting, it's my songs, but I think this is the first time that I had the absolute freedom and time to discover my own how Shiadanni music would sound like. And I felt so
Mhm.
proud, especially because I did it myself. There was no one in the room telling me, oh no, that's not, these notes can't be together, which is the thing every time, because I do everything by ear. I play everything
Mhm.
by ear. So I bumped heads a lot of the times with producers who were like, no, you're killing me with these two notes. I'm like, I don't care if they don't work together. It gives a feeling, a sensation that is cool. And nobody is gonna notice that these notes don't go together. It's just you. you know?
Right. And I think that comes back to you not liking the technical aspect of it, right? And like learning the theory and I've had a lot of conversations with artists that have absolutely no training in that because they didn't want to have that mindset. It's like I
Mhm.
don't want it almost like restricts you in a certain way. It's probably really beneficial in certain ways, knowing, okay, this note goes with this and this should happen this way and you could work quickly, but also it might take away. You would never try what you're talking about. Like the producer saying that
Sure.
note doesn't go with this, but
Mhm.
you're like, well, it does to me and it sounds rad and it's different
Yeah.
than where, it has a feeling,
Yes.
right? That you would lose if you just thought of it as this note should go with this note.
Yes, 100%. I feel like all the decisions I took in this album would have never passed the check if I would be in a studio with someone else. They would tell me, oh, this doesn't, no, it's not a good idea. Oh, they're gonna skip here. Oh, what are you trying to say here? What are you, what is your
Uh-huh.
message with this line? Or what is your, like, no, I don't even know. Like, I'm just trying to put a feeling or an emotion, or who cares, right?
I love it. So this whole album, there's no other input. It was just you doing what you're going to do, record the whole thing, and just here
Yeah.
it is. You presented it.
Yes.
I love that. That's so rad. I haven't heard that in such a long time that that'd be the case.
Yes, I was afraid of, am I was happy because I was satisfying myself. I was happy because I loved the music, I loved what I did, but I was like, oh my God, are they gonna really gonna care? Because it's not, the usual type of music. It's not, it doesn't sound copy paste to me. It sounds
Mhm.
like a special album, and it sounds like instrumentals that you just don't have in a party playlist. It's something that you have to listen to and like, oh, this, what is she saying? Or this is so dramatic. To me,
Mhm.
it's a special album. So
Mhm.
I just thought, oh my God, am I, should have dropped a pop bop before? Should I, you think all, and I feel your vision can get so contaminated with today's world. It's so hard. It's so hard to swim against the current and to have the courage to say, no, it's fine. I don't need to do that. I won't do a TikTok trend. I won't. But the world is telling you you have to, and it's so hard for musicians because we are trying to adapt. We are trying to make our projects be heard. And it's right now, TikTok is the way. I think everyone's promoting on TikTok, but it's also, man, it's so hard. It's such a conflict because you just want to make music. You just want to make music for yourself. And I feel, yeah, the vision can get contaminated. At least for me, I'm in that struggle where I want to make real music and I want to swim against the current, but I'm faced with the consequences
No,
of that.
I completely hear you. Yeah, it's, do I put a pop bop song out because I know that people are going to immediately be drawn to it, like, oh, like this is because there's a style that obviously works and for a mass amount of people if you're just playing that game. But I think the record you did is amazing, and I think it's something that sounds like it should be like a theater performance with, like I said, like an orchestra and everything else. Um, and to what you said about the, jumping on these TikTok trends, it's like you were able to separate yourself from that by creating your own, niche within that. Like your video went viral, like we were talking about the guacamole video, because it
Mhm,
was something that you did and you were just doing you. Whereas
mhm.
like if 100 people try to repurpose that or do their version of it, like it will never land the same way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
I feel yeah, I feel like just because I mean, yeah, right? Like it's being authentic and you're being authentic on the record, or you're being authentic in that video. And but I could
Yeah,
see what you're saying where it's hard to blur the lines because you're like, well, these other things are working,
yeah,
so but
yeah,
so did what you did there anyway.
yeah. Something that I really tell my followers, because I feel like a lot of creative people follow me, a lot of like artists and just
Mhm.
in many different
A
areas
lot of people follow you from all
who
else.
relate who relate to what I do, and they love hearing advices, and I always say, like, it doesn't matter what you do, because I am guilty. I make comedy on TikTok because it works, and of course I do it because I'm smart and I know it's gonna support the main passion that I have, which is music. That's why I started doing it. I said, okay, I have this skill, and I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna make comedy, and this opened so many doors for me. But I had so much ego before that I didn't want to do it for so long that I said, I'm not gonna join the circus because I'm an artist, right? And I've been repeating to everyone, okay, you need to stop with your ego and be smarter and actually grab the circus and make your own circus and like do it your own way and bring your own rules. Because if you say like, yeah, everything is trash, I'm not gonna join, well, you actually could make it less painful if you were there. And
Mhm.
people are gonna see it, they're gonna be like, oh, okay, there's good things, there's, okay, you motivate people, you inspire people, people are like, okay, I'm gonna do it. Oh yes, if I would have seen someone like doing something very cool, which there is a lot of people now. I feel like more people are getting like the courage to go on TikTok now.
Mhm.
um and it's inspiring to see people who are creative and who have talent and who like are, yeah, who have smart and who have a smart purpose behind the content. I think you can tell when you watch something and you're like, oh, this person, I know what they're doing. Yeah,
Right, right. Yeah, you can when you see the stuff that does work and lands, it's like, oh, okay, I understand how that. Yeah, like I said, it's really has to be authentic, or people can notice it like instantly, and you'll see that with what videos do what.
Yeah,
I love how you have that harp right there. Did you use that on the record?
I used it. Yeah.
Wow. When did you learn how to play the harp? I saw
I
it in a video that
learned.
you posted too. It just that's why I was curious.
It's my favorite instrument so far, I think. There's just something about it so spiritual. There's no instrument like the harp. You just don't need voice at all. You just let the
Mm-mm.
harp play. I learned probably like 5 years ago. Yeah, it was one of my biggest dreams since I was little. Yeah. And yeah, it's not an instrument easy to find also.
I was gonna say, like, you just show up at the music
Oh,
shop and say, "Throw a
I
harp in
know.
the back seat," like, and
It
it's
took
not
me
a
a long
portable one
time.
either.
Yeah, it took me a long time to find the one I wanted and a lot of years to find one because it's not something you go, I want this one. No, like you
Right.
need
You
to
don't
know
walk
about.
in a guitar center and leave with a
Yeah.
harp.
So this is my favorite sound in a harp. It's not even a huge one. It's like a medium one size.
But it's
And
still as tall as you are. At least in the video you're holding it, it's like
it looks
almost a
massive.
spirit.
It looks massive, but I'm actually so tiny. So little.
Okay.
Like when I hold my cat, they think it's a huge cat, and I'm just the tiny one. The cat is a normal size.
Okay.
I'm like this with a cat. And no, it's just a normal cat.
Okay.
But yes,
Wow.
love the harp. Used it in a lot of songs, and I loved it. I love to use it more for random improvs, just
Mm.
random melodies. It's so nice for it when you just want to make something, a short clip. I love it for it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful
So,
instrument. I
best
think
instrument
it's
ever.
cool that, what you said earlier about not listening to your record, or at least the Facing the Mirror album, in your car because you're already like 10 steps ahead of that. Is it
Mhm.
because you like the music you're writing now, like you don't want to be like re-influenced by it, or is it what you're doing now totally different, or you're just like, okay, that was one thing and I'm done with it, I'm just looking forward?
I think I just can't listen to the songs because I just hear so many mistakes of not
Mm.
mistakes, but
Things you'd
maybe
want to change maybe.
yeah, for sure. Be like, oh, over here I should have done this, I should have done because I do every sound from the
Uh-huh.
kick to whatever it is.
Wow.
So I'm like, oh my God, this kick needed a different compressor, you know?
Yeah, you could sit. Yeah, you could get yourself stuck all day doing that. And
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that, because I've asked artists about this when they were producing during COVID or the lockdown, is did you get caught up in that at all? Like
Oh, yes.
spending way too much time re-listening to it and just like minuscule tweaks instead of just being like, okay, this is done. Like I can't even go back and listen to it because I'll spend
Mhm.
another 6 weeks, changing
Mhm.
compressors on the kick drum.
Actually, for me, I do the songs very quickly. I think my problem is I don't stop. So instead of perfectioning one song, I just go to the next and go to the next and go to the next. And
Mm.
so I think, yeah, I'm guilty of not spending the right time in each song, you know? So people might not hear the things I hear in the songs, but I'm like, oh, okay, this is missing this or this is missing that. And also I'm learning as well because I just started producing. So there's a lot of new things that I buy, libraries, sounds, things and that I keep
Mm.
buying. And I'm like, oh, if I would have had this plugin for that
Sure.
track, my God, this is the best plugin ever. Why didn't I use this? So
Right, right. You could get caught up in that for sure. So the
mhm.
new songs you have, it sounds like you're always writing, but this is new, and we're talking about this. Are you doing any shows supporting the EP?
Oh my goodness. We are gonna start shows hopefully this year.
Awesome. Are you
And
excited for that?
I'm excited. I've never played live before. I think,
Wow. Aside from
yeah,
those gigs when you were a kid?
yes, that's it.
Hmm.
I did a lot of acoustic shows, but I've never played with tracks. I've never had my in-ears. Like this is the first time I'm rehearsing with the in-ears and trying to adapt the songs to a live show. It's gonna be my first time ever. So
Wow.
I'm
That must be
excited.
exciting.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited. I mean, despite singing like a crazy person through all my life, I was not out there as much as regular musicians might be, because I guess for me was, I was always in my world and trying, I was in the other side, you know.
Right, right. Well, that's
Hmm.
really exciting. I hope you come to the United States and play Nashville, Tennessee. I would love to see you.
I would love to. I think we're gonna start with Canada though.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yes, we're gonna start here and for practice.
And then work your way down. I love
Yes,
it.
and then we'll go there. Hmm.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today. This has been so much fun. My last question, which I think you've answered 3 times so far, but I'm going to ask it again. If you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Yes, I think I would say just try. It sounds cheesy because I said it before, to swim against the current, because it's a message I always repeat, to try to not get caught up with all the noise right now, because it's just so saturated, so full of everyone wanting to do it. And I feel, go back to your purpose and why you want to do it, why you love music, and try to find your own language in music. Yes, to try to find your authenticity, which is what's gonna be your power, I think.
Bringing it backward.